Hey everybody, Maction here, and the other night I was watching somebody else's news coverage of an item, and I thought, that little ticker tape that goes along the bottom and has sort of news-related stuff, that would be fun to do. Now, he had done it in Premiere and After Effects, but I thought, I'm pretty sure I can do this in Vegas. So, hopped on the computer, a few minutes later, came up with something. Now, I do wish to stress that I'm sure there are people who can do this in a more efficient manner, in a more effective manner, with different tools, or even with the same tools. But I just figured I'd share my quick method of doing it. So it started with, of course, me using Sony Vegas, because, I'm cheap. And then I went ahead and I made a little graphic here, sort of mock-up of a graphic, with a minute or so I had in GIMP, because cheap is how I roll. And then I did this. So, the general idea is to do this sort of a thing. Now, there are some limitations, but we'll get into that in a minute right after I show you how it's done. So, first things first, we do, of course, need ourselves a item to put our ticker tape on. And then we'll go ahead and we'll make a new text media here. And we'll come up with something to say. So, let's do this. You see, this is where being uncreative, has its downfalls. Okay, how about that? And so now that we've got it, we would of course change the font. I will of course also be changing the size here. Now it is important to note that what we're going for is not to try and fit it all in, because we'll be using a combination of this. And let me go ahead and change the location a little bit. And we'll get it roughly in the right spot. But then we want to make it a little bit bigger because we're going to be using the pan and crop and zooming out so that it comes within the confines of our ticker tape. And that'll do some resizing for us. So let's go ahead. Okay, so we want it to disappear right about there on the right. There we go. Now this, of course, is something that's going to require just a little bit of specialty work in every individual case. But that's what you're looking for. Now, I almost forgot to do one other thing, and that is to enable an animation, and we want scrolling to the left. So now, when we do that, it should run through. Now, you will notice that right about here, there's some jumbling. Right here. Now that's because I've made it too long, and that's one of the, shall we say, limitations of this particular approach. So let's just get rid of a couple of items here, and we'll just leave it at that. So now this of course means that if you want a new line or longer lines, you're going to have to add in additional ones. Now we come to the next limitation, that it goes by pretty fast. So in Sony Vegas, we just hold down Control and drag this out to about as far as it'll go. And right now it's going about as fast as you can comfortably read on a general news story. That is another limitation, that you're limited in how much you can control the speed. It either goes way too fast or just barely slow enough for you to read properly. But it is a cheap and effective method of getting done what you need. Now, of course, at this point, I could go ahead and do something like this. And let's create a new copy. And then we can add this one in here. And so once it gets to about here, it'll transition to the next title. There we go. So, of course, I'd fiddle around with this until I had it, in a bit more of a fitting location, and of course we'd throw these two layers on over top of our video, or whatever news video we're doing. But anyway, so I'm sure that other people have done this, I'm sure that other people have done it better, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how it could be done using some of the less expensive and, cheaper tools that are available.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed, and if you have, a comment or a like would be most appreciated. You see, it's your feedback that lets me know how to best allocate my time to the things that you want to see. If you click on any of the videos around here, you'll be taken to a playlist with more of that particular brand of madness. And be sure to subscribe so that you can always be the first to know when I have some new content out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around.